Welcome back to our course on RegTech. In today's session, we're going to talk about the goals of security and regulation, how they overlap, and how they relate to each other. When we think about security and regulation, they have different goals, but in some ways they're similar, and in some ways they're different. So we'll talk about each, and then the intersection and the overlap, and why this matters to FinTech and how it's important for FinTech firms, both large established firms and startup firms. Now, as we think about the goal of security, security is there to protect us from harm. We can lock our door to keep ourselves safe, and it discourages crime. Now, we may have greater or lesser prevention. We don't necessarily need bars over the windows or a huge vault to protect our savings at home, but we might if we're a financial service firm. We may need a greater degree of security, and we may need guns with guards at the bank because we're worried about potential break-ins, bank robbers coming in to steal the wealth of the bank. The problem comes in that sometimes we have a lot of security at the front of the bank that's visible and showy, physical security, and maybe we left the back door open. So all the money's gone from the vault because somebody stole from the back end. How did we leave the back door open? We let a hacker in, or we let employees commit fraud. And so fraud happens, mistakes happen, errors happen. Security can help us prevent both intentional fraud or crime, hackers and others, employees as well, but also unintentional breaches of security, people making mistakes that are foolish or careless. And so security can help avoid those as well and keep our capital safe, because we're talking about a lot of money. Why do bank robbers rob banks? This was a question once asked, and the answer is because that's where the money is. We're not going to rob poor people. They don't have any money to take, so we're going to go find a rich bank that we can rob. And so why do hackers target financial service firms? Because there's money there. And so you have to be careful about data security as well as physical security. For FinTech companies, more and more money's going there in FinTech as these companies are successful. And in some cases, hackers have also targeted these. In some cases, there have been security problems. And so there are concerns. This may not be your initial concern, but as a FinTech firm, you do need to worry about security. Now, security helps to keep us safe, and the goal is to reduce risk. The trade-off is that more risk, or this low risk, may be low convenience. We may be willing to accept that and trade for lower risk, but sometimes a highly secure bank or a highly secure platform may be unfriendly. And sometimes the level of security can be so high that customers say, I don't want it. For example, my son is a CS major. He loves security. He loves data security. So he wants to have a password that is 12 to 16 characters long, all of random numbers and letters, upper, lower case, and symbols, that is completely secure. You use 16 bits that are all random. You're not going to hack that easily. That would take an awful lot of effort, and very unlikely anybody would bother. It's too hard. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have some security. You should have some. But you shouldn't have too much security. And so, for example, if you're in a company and you say, I want to give you a 16-bit random password, and you would say, life is too short. I'm not going to memorize that. That's not worth it. And so what do? Well, you'd write it down because it's too hard to remember. And therefore, that's not secure. And that's not going to keep you safe because you write it down, you put it in your desk. The janitor comes in at night, he can look that up. Now you break in. That's one way hackers can get into your system, is you've made your password so secure that it's inconvenient, and people bypass that security in ways that are unsafe for their convenience, and that makes us unsafe. Now, the inherent nature of FinTech is to give us convenience and speed. And convenience and speed are often, by their nature, need to bypass some traditional security measures to make them faster, more convenient, easier to use. We don't want to be doing multiple factor authentications for every transaction. We want to be able to do one-click purchasing from Amazon because it's convenient, but it's not as secure. And so we make trade-offs. The security goals may be in conflict with our FinTech goals, therefore. And so we find this inherent challenge in how much security is the right level of security.